COVID-19 quarantine, Black Lives Matter, protests, racial injustice, me getting accepted into my #1 choice graduate program and not being able to be happy about it. Ciao. Hello everyone, my name is Faith Morgan and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video will highlight the turmoil and joy that I've experienced the past couple of months while transitioning to my new normal and starting graduate school in a time which felt like the world was pretty much ending. As many of you can probably assume, my field is predominantly white. This is something that I've always dealt with and always have been pretty used to and I've never really found a problem with before this year. I received my official offer for my graduate program in May of this year. And a lot of questions were running through my head because, one, we were in quarantine and we had no idea when the COVID-19 state of the world was gonna stop, because I assumed that that would affect how my classes were gonna be in the fall and how I interacted with students and how I was gonna be a TA. But that wasn't really even the worst of my worries. When I got the acceptance, I went back to my lab page and I was like, oh, okay, I get to be a part of this lab. I had done tons of research on my advisor and she's an amazing person and she helped me so much before I even got the acceptance. So I know it's gonna be a great relationship. But when I looked at my page, I realized that every single person was white. And in the midst of a pandemic, and in the midst of all the racial injustice that we were experiencing following the murder of George Floyd, I started to look at the world a little bit differently. I was out there protesting. I was out there like signing petitions, sending money. I was doing it all. So it was just like in the midst of all of this, I got my acceptance and I was just like, wow, this could be a little awkward. And my advisor invited me to join their weekly lab meetings. And I couldn't bring myself to be excited to meet everyone and to talk to everyone and to interact with all these lab mates, not knowing what their stance is on these issues. I didn't know what to say, if anything. I didn't know how to say it. I didn't know how I was going to explain to her that I literally can't even go on social media right now because it makes me so sad. And I was having night terrors and I was having so much anxiety, and I would just call like my male friends and just be so scared and like just be so sad because I was genuinely fearing for their lives. Oh my God, I am crying. What? Sorry. But I was just genuinely so scared for them. So I didn't know how to say that to her. So I kind of was just ignoring emails for a little bit. I did like all the things that I had to do on my end, but I wasn't necessarily like trying to be making friends right now. I was kind of taking time for myself and trying to come to terms with the fact that she possibly could not care about any of that stuff and just want me to go there and do research. So I was feeling really down and really anxious about everything, and she eventually reached out. She released a statement to all of us in the lab, and she was basically talking about the injustices that have been going on amongst people of color in the United States, and how she wants to use her privilege and use her role in society to try to mitigate some of that. And she was saying that like she hadn't even realized how whitewashed our courses are. Like they don't talk about some of the Black scientists as much as they should. And they don't talk about some of the Black people that have made contributions to science as much as they talk about white people. And that could be another reason why so many Black people they don't see themselves in these spaces, so they don't think that they're welcome. She literally like wrote an entire plan of action. She had like bullet points. She organized a book club, a step above just reading the book, but actually meetings on Zoom that she scheduled for my lab to talk about the bugs and to talk about everything. Reading that email just put all my anxiety, all my feelings at ease, and just seeing some of my lab mates giving feedback and talking about how they're actually interested in reading the books and doing diversity inclusion workshops. And I was just really excited to see that she, along with my lab mates, were actually trying to do something about it and actually felt a way about all the injustice enough to change the curriculum for their courses and just try to make those changes, because it's systemic. It's systemic. And if we change the systems, we should be able to change the way people think and the way people learn. It makes sense that no Black people want to be outside. It's like you never see Black people outside. We're not seen. We don't learn about any Black people that have done anything. I was just reading through some of her suggestions, and I finally brought myself to responding, and I was like, I'm willing to do anything. If you need help, I'm willing to give input, of course. And one of my favorite things that she said to me was, thank you for your response, but don't feel like you need to do anything. I'm actually going to read it. She said, the way I see it right now, the point is not even to further burden Black people in academia who already have to spend so much time being teachers, leaders, etc. Those of us who had never had to deal with racism directly are the ones who need to do the work right now. I think it's really great that this movement is making people like me more aware that my lack of action is not okay, and I'm not being a good ally until I actively try to work against racism. So again, we welcome your input in these conversations, but don't feel pressure to represent your entire community. She snapped. That's all I gotta say. But no, honestly, and I also had some of the graduate students reach out to me and see how I was doing, and I really appreciated that. And I am now so excited to start grad school next week. I officially start Monday, and I'm really excited. I just wanted to share that with you guys, but I'm gonna do videos about how I applied to graduate school and how to apply to research graduate programs by compiling some of the advice that I've received that obviously worked in my favor despite really difficult times. I actually received the option to do this semester online because the current stages of my research are able to be done remotely, and I'm so grateful for that because I get to save money and stay home and not be paying rent in the city of my university, which is really expensive. I'm adapting with the times, as I could imagine everyone else in the world is, and I hope you guys stay safe and wear your masks and are continuing to succeed despite the crazy times that we're experiencing, and just remember to stay encouraged. And as always, have faith in nature.